and we will be, okay, just give it a moment. The live event has started. You may begin.
All right. Thank you, Pearl. Just trying to, okay, it doesn't want to drag. All right. Good afternoon, grade fours. I hope you guys had a restful weekend. And I hope you practiced what we learned last week. Okay, before we go to that, I'm Mema Luleke, as some of you know, and then I'm taking you through for grade four maths. Last week, Friday, we had an amazing lesson. I'm sure most of you still remember. I had the Laurentius that were doing very good. Okay. But then today, we are moving on to something new. So we're using Teams. Unfortunately, you guys won't be able to be unmuted and you won't be able to talk the way that we've been doing last week. But then that's not a transmash. What you guys can do, you can chat to me. So when I ask a question, you can type in your answer if I ask you a question, and then I'll be able to go to the chat and read what you guys said, and then I'll answer you. So you're welcome again. And unfortunately, I can also see who is here and who is not here. But I know that we had 20 people that had joined then, and I'm sure it's more now. So you guys are welcome. Yes, so we're going to start. If you still remember last week, we were doing rounding off. We did it quite extensively, and I was explaining to you guys how we do round off. And I also told you guys that when we come to addition, there is a topic where we have to do rounding off and compensation. And if you are struggling with your rounding off, it's going to make it difficult for you to round off and compensation. So what we did last week, we went over rounding off, and then people were telling me all these steps, because remember I told you that rounding off is a routine procedure. So this means that you have to follow the steps. There are rules that you have to follow. And I really hope over the weekend you guys all went over the lesson of rounding off. But then as we are moving on with adding, I know there's some new kids that joined us, some awesome kids. I'll also go back and touch on rounding off just in case you guys have forgotten, because I know you guys at home and it's a lockdown, and maybe after you've watched the video you're tired, you want to watch natural science and everything. So I'll be going back to re-explain some points of rounding off, just in case you were not here or just in case you've forgotten. So our topic today, we are doing rounding off and compensation in addition. So by the end of the lesson, you will learn to estimate first so that you can determine the reasonableness of your answers. So estimation helps you to see how reasonable is your answer. And I said estimation is not just guessing. So when we estimate, we actually use the rounding off. And then you're also going to know what is meant by compensation, because now in grade 3 you guys were doing, remember you were doing number bonds and maybe you added using the column method, but now you see this big word. I know some of the teachers they love doing the column method, but you have to be exposed to all the methods of adding, and then after you're going to use the one that works best for you. And then you're also going to know how to round off to the nearest 10 and compensate. Remember, I said you'll know the meaning of the word compensation because our topic is rounding off and compensation. And then you're also going to know how to use the inverse. And then the inverse, the other word for inverse is opposite operation to get the actual answer. So by the end of the lesson, you'll be successful if you know all these things. But I'll try to make it as simple for you as possible, because I know I cannot I cannot see your faces to see if you're getting it or if you're not getting it. And remember, grade fours, remember what I said last week, those that were not here, I said you should grab a pen and a paper, and also sit still, because I was fortunate to see some of your videos, some of you were eating. It's fine to lie down in bed. If you're in bed, it's okay, you can lie down as long as you're sitting in one place. And then if there is noise at the background, or maybe your parents or your guardians are talking, you can move away from them so that you can understand what I'm saying. And then I'll try to explain things twice so that if you did not understand, maybe you can get it the second time. So now let's talk about rounding off and compensation. And what is compensation? So compensation, in simpler terms, it means to replace what was lost. So for example, the only thing that comes to my mind is money. I'm sure maybe if your parents are listening, they know about the road accident fund. So if someone is in an accident and they lose something, maybe they lose a leg or they lose an arm, they are compensated for that. Or if maybe you come and you do something for maybe your mom, and then they say you should wash their cars, and then they're going to compensate you for the time that was lost. So they might say that you can wash my car and then I'm going to give you 5 rands. So that is your mom compensating you. So what did you lose? You lost time. Maybe you could have been watching Pamparina, for example, but then because you lost the time, and then your mom compensates you with money. So in maths, now we're going to make it relevant to maths. In maths, we round off to estimate. So when we round off, it's either we gain some numbers or we lose some numbers. So those are the numbers that we compensate. So we check how much did we gain. For example, if we're rounding off 27 to the nearest 10, and then the answer is 30. To move from 27 to go to 30, we actually gain 3. So we have to compensate the number that we added. So that is compensation in maths. I know when I give examples about money, people love money, so I always get your ears hooked up to hear what I'm saying. Okay, so we're going to start very low. I'm going to do a very simple example before we can move to big numbers. What do I mean by big numbers? Remember those that were there the first day. We said that you guys now do up until 4-digit numbers. So these are thousands. So before we can move to thousands, I don't want to scare you off. I just want you to sit down and listen, grab a pen, paper, write some things down. And then when it's time for you to ask questions, you're going to say, yes, ma'am, I wanted to ask this and this and this. So that is why I'm encouraging you guys to have a pen and a paper. Okay, so I recorded a video of myself, and then I'm going to go through the video. You just listen and watch what is happening on the video. So we are estimating by rounding off to 10 and compensating. So I'll be playing the video and pausing so that I can explain what is happening on the video. Unfortunately, yes, you're not going to hear what is said on the video, but you're going to see what is done on the video, and you're going to hear what I say. Okay, so what you're basically seeing there on the video, we are rounding off and compensating to the nearest 10. So this means that the numbers that we are adding is to the nearest 10. Okay. Okay, as I was saying that, so we're rounding off to 10, and then you see I'm going to write some numbers. So the first number that we're adding is 22. We're adding 22 plus 47. So let's look at that number. It's 22 plus 47. So this is not you adding what is 22 plus 47. Remember the method that we are using. We are using rounding off and compensation. So if we look at 22 and we round it off to the nearest 10, 22 to the nearest 10 is 20. If you still remember, I said our answers, when we round off to the nearest 10, they have to be in the multiples of 10. And those that were not here, the multiples of 10, we start from 0. So it's 0, 10, 20, 30. So as we can see here, 22 to the nearest 10 is 20. And then you choose any one of the numbers. So you can either round off 22 to the nearest 10, or you can round off 47 to the nearest 10. It doesn't matter which number you choose. So point number 1, grade 4, you choose one of the numbers. You don't round both of them at the same time. So you choose one of the numbers and then you round them off to the nearest 10. So I chose 22. You can, after we are done with the lesson, you can go back to the video because we're posting also on YouTube, and then you can round off 47 to the nearest 10. Then you'll see that it gives you the same answer. So coming back to the lesson, 22 to the nearest 10 is 20. So this means that if I'm standing at 22, it's going to be closer for me to go to 20 than maybe you thought that the answer is 30. So between 20 and 30 is closer to me to go to 20 than it is closer to go to 30. So 22 to the nearest 10 is 20. And then after you are done with your rounding off, we have rounded off, so first part is done. And then we come to adding. So you take the 20, which is the answer. You take the 20, which is the answer, and then you add it to 47. We did not round off 47, remember. So we take the rounded off answer, and then we add it to 47. And then 20 plus 47 equals to 67. This is not the answer of 22 plus 47, but we call it an estimated answer. So can you see that when we estimate, we did not guess grade 4s. Some of you think, estimating, ma'am, I'll just 22 plus 47, it's 100. No, estimating have got its own rules and there are steps that you have to follow. So after we've rounded off, then we take the number that we rounded off, which is 20, plus 47, and then it gives us 67. So this is the estimated answer. You'll see why it is very important to have the estimated answer. And then we go to step number 3. Step number 3, I want you to listen here. Now we have to listen very carefully. Step number 3, you then take the number that you rounded off. That is where compensation comes in. The number that we rounded off, which was 22, we rounded it down to 20. So can you see that from 22 to 20, we actually lost something? Remember when I was giving an example about your parents giving you money because you have washed the car? So going from 22 to 20, we actually lost how much? We lost 2. Now we have to compensate because we lost. So we take that estimated answer and then we add, because we lost 2, we then add the 2 and then we get our answer there. Okay, let's just check the answer there. So 67 plus the 2 that we lost, we have to add it. We get how much? Can you see how much we get? Yes, we get 69. So this is the actual answer. I'll go back again and re-explain. So the numbers that we're adding 22 plus 47, and the method that we're using is use rounding off and compensation, and we are rounding off to the nearest 10. So what I said, grade 4s, I said you have to choose any of the numbers to round off to the nearest 10. You can either choose 22 or you can choose 47. In this instance, ma'am chose 22. So when we round off 22 to the nearest 10, the answer is 20. And then we come to add so that we can get an estimated answer. An estimated answer is a close enough answer. It is not the actual answer. If you can go to a calculator now and say 22 plus 47, you are not going to get 67. But 67 tells us that our actual answer is around 60s. So if your estimated answer was 100 and something, and then you come to calculate the actual answer and you get 69, then you would have done something wrong with your estimation. So after you have gotten the estimated answer, you see I even wrote it in a different color pen. It's an estimated answer. Then we go back to the number that you rounded off. So we rounded off 22 and the answer was 20. Moving from 22, if you had 22 rands and then you borrow me 22 rands, and then when I pay you back, I pay you 20 rands, are you going to like it? Are you going to like it? Even if I come and say, you know, my kids didn't have money for bread. I'm giving you 20 rands. You are going to feel like I cheated you. So that is how it falls to the answer. If we say the answer is 67, we have cheated it because we added 20 and 47 to get 67. But what was the number originally? The number originally was 22. So the same way that when you borrow me 22 rands and I give you back 20 rands, you're going to feel cheated. So it means I have to compensate you with the money that is short. So how many was short from the number? 2 was short. So we lost 2. Because we lost 2, we have to add 2 to the answer. Because we lost 2, we have to add 2 to the answer. So that is how we do the rounding off and compensation. I don't know. Are there any questions?
Nancy, sorry to disturb you. The learners is saying that the video is frozen.
It's frozen. Oh
yeah, so
I
then
paused it.
seeing it. Oh, okay. All right, that's
yes.
fine.
So what they should see and what you should see is the whole calculation. What are they seeing?
I can't see anything. I'm still at the beginning of the video.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay, let me continue because I'm still explaining the same thing on the next slide. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we're going to look at rounding off and examples of rounding off and compensation. So if you didn't see the video, it's fine. We're still going to do more examples. I'm sorry that the video got frozen on your side, even though it was playing on mine. It's fine. It's not a train smash. So now look at the sum below. Okay, grade 4s. I know you guys can read now. I know perfectly because I teach grade 4s. So every time before you can answer, we know math is about working out and calculating, but before you can work out anything and add or subtract, please, you have to read what the question says. So here the instruction is, look at the sum below. So there is the sum below. Estimate by rounding off to 10 and then compensate to get to the correct answer. Remember, step number 1. Okay, first, what sums do you have? What sums do you see? I see 15 plus 12. I hope you also see that, 15 plus 12. And then we choose any number that we can round off between 15 and 12. So let's round off one of the numbers to the nearest 10. So you choose any number. And in this case, you can see I chose 15. That's why I put it in red. So what is 15 rounded off to the nearest 10? 15 to the nearest 10 equals to 20. Once you have rounded off one number, then you take the rounded off answer and then you add it to the one that we did not round off. So we say 20 plus 12. Okay, the other reason why we round off, why we estimate, you see, after we've rounded off the answer, it becomes easier for us to add. Maybe some of you would have struggled to say 15 plus 12. Maybe some of you had said 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, blah, blah, blah. But now if you see a 20, I know in grade 3, you were taught about number bonds. So in 12, you know there is a 10. So if I take the 10 in the 12 and I put it on the 20, I have 30. And then the 2 remaining of the units, I have 32. So always rounding off and estimating makes it easier for you to add. So that is either reason. Maybe you're asking, but why should we round off and compensate? Why, ma'am? Why can't we use the column method? Okay. So now let's compensate. So you have added, and then the answer is 32. Remember, the 32 is not 15 plus 12. 15 plus 12 does not give us 32, but 32 is the estimated answer. And then I said about the estimated answer makes it easier for us to see how far we are from the actual answer or how close we are to it. So now we see that 15 became 20. So what happened? Go back to the money scenario because I know you guys understand money. So you borrowed me 15 rands. You borrowed me 15 rands, and then I forgot how much you borrowed me. Then I come and say, hi, Pearl, here is 20 rands. And then what are you going to do? Are you going to say, hippie, I got extra 5 rands? Are you going to say that? So you're going to say, ma'am, remember I borrowed you 15 rands and you gave me 20 rands. So what are you going to do? You're going to compensate me. You're going to compensate me because you only borrowed me 15 rands. I hope you understand. So 15 became 20. So this means that on 15 we added 5. Because we added 5 from the actual answer, what do we have to do? If you said we have to remove, you are right. We have to remove 5. It's about compensation. It's about fairness. So compensation, we want everything to be fair. So 15 became 20. So this means that on the estimated answer, we have to remove 5. Because remember, you actually borrowed me how much? 15 rands and not 20 rands. So now, if we remove 5 from the estimated answer, and the estimated answer is 32, so we're going to say 32 minus 5, and the answer is 27. So grade 4s. Is it true if I say 15 plus 12, I get 27? If you have counted your toes and you have counted your nails, you added 15 to 12, did you get 27? Yes, you did. So when we estimated and we got 32, were we somewhere around closer to the answer? Yes, we were. We were closer to the answer. You see how easy it is to round off and compensate. But I'm not going to just give you one example and be like, these grade 4s have understood, because I might have lost someone somewhere. So let's look. All right. Now, I think on this slide, that is where I'll need people to type some answers for me so that I can see if people really understand what I'm talking about. But before you do that, let's read the question. As I said, you guys know how to read. And in term 2, you're starting with your June exams. And when you start, no one is going to read for you like we did in grade 3. So you have to read for yourself. So the question is, or the instruction, calculate the sum below by rounding off to 10 and compensating. By rounding off to 10 and compensating. And then the sum that I gave you, simple again, 22 plus 17. I don't want the actual answer. Grade 4s, listen, I don't want the actual answer. Remember, we are rounding off and compensating. So first, step number 1, we round off one of the numbers above. So what I want you to do for me is to go to the chart, ask your parents to show you how we go to the chart, and then you round off. It doesn't matter which one you round off. You can round off either 22 to the nearest 10 or 17 to the nearest 10. I'll go to the chart, I'll wait for a minute and see the answers that you guys are giving me. 22 to the nearest 10, you can either round that one off or you can round off 17 to the nearest 10. So I'll go now to the charts and see what you guys have said. I see Zoe joined us again. Hi, Zoe. I miss your voice, guys. I miss your voices. I can move that. Okay, remember, the number is 17, is 22 plus 17. So I'm waiting to see what is 17 to the nearest 10 and what is 22 to the nearest 10. Oh, hi, Dylan. Yes, John Paul. Oh, I remember you. Okay. Remember, I'm still waiting for the answers. Oh, yes, Dylan. I guess you rounded off 17 to the nearest 10 and you said 20. Well done, Dylan. Well done. And would you also round off 22 to the nearest 10 for me? Okay, Jean-Paul, we are done with the video. We moved on to the next slide. I'm still waiting for the answer of 17 to the nearest 10 and 22 to the nearest 10. So far, Dylan have told me that 17 to the nearest 10 is 20. All right, so I'm going to continue. I'll check again the answers. I'm also going to check your answers. All right, so we round off one of the numbers above. Thank you, Dylan, for giving me the perfect answer. I'm sure the others, I can see you saying something is frozen, and I know your answers are also going to be right because you guys rock. All right, so let's see the next step, because now people know how to round off. So let's round off 22. I chose 22, and then 22 to the nearest 10, the answer is 20. If you said 17 to the nearest 10, guess what? The answer was still 20. Then, because we rounded off 22, I'm done with the video, so maybe you guys can come now and listen. The video, it froze. Okay, we move on from that. So now we are here. I don't want you to focus on the video, and then you're going to miss the gist of the lesson. Okay, so we rounded off 22, and then 22 to the nearest 10 gives us 20, as Dylan have said, and I'm sure the others would have said the same thing. And then we add the answer that we rounded off, which is 20 plus 17. So 20 plus 17 equals to 37. Yes, you are right. Remember, this is not an actual answer, but it is the what? The estimated answer. So how do we get to the actual answer? I'm sure by now people have an idea. So now we come to the compensation. We come to the compensation. So let's compensate. We look at the number that we rounded off. So the number was 22 and it became 20. I'll go back to the example of money. So you borrowed me 22 rands, and here I am bringing back 20 rands. So how much have you lost? Yes, you are right. You have lost 2 rands. So this means that from the estimated answer, ma'am needs to give you 2 rands more. I need to give you 2 rands more. So the estimated answer was 37. And then because the number that you rounded off, it moved from 22 to 20, and you actually lost 2 rands. Now, how are you going to buy your sweets? Because now I made you to be short with 2 rands. So from the estimated answer, we have to add, because we lost, this is where inverse operation comes in, or the we call it inverse, just for you to know the word, but the other is a name is opposite operation. So you'll see with rounding off and compensation, I wanted you to come to that conclusion yourself. If we lost something, we have to add it to the estimated answer. And if we gain something, we have to subtract it from the estimated answer. But I wanted you guys to come to that realization yourselves. So 22 became 20, and then we lost 2 when we moved from 22 to 20. So this means that we have to add 2 on the estimated answer. So then we take the estimated answer, which is 37, and we say 37 plus 2 equals to 39. If you can quickly even go to your calculator, you're not allowed to use calculators, but I'm sure some of your mental maths is good. So if you know, if I say 22 plus 17, the answer is 39. So you see, if we use the rounding off and compensation, we still get that answer. But with this method, it makes you to understand it more, to understand rounding off more, and see when we round off what actually happens. Because when we round off, it's either we lose or we gain something. Okay, now we move on to the third example. Now I'm trying really to reach those that are saying, ma'am, now I really don't understand. What are you on about? What are you saying? So if you were sitting there or lying in bed and you have been paying attention, by now you know with rounding off and compensation, you know we have to choose one of the numbers to round off. And you also know that you have to read the instructions so that you understand what it wants you to do. Because most of the time, grade 4s, you don't get things wrong because you don't know how to do them. You get things wrong because you did not understand the instruction. So still the instruction is the same. Calculate the sum below by rounding off to 10 and compensating. Because from 2 o'clock, Mem Maleke has been saying that when we round off and compensate, we must only round off one number. And then Mem said, I'm not choosing the number. You have to choose the number yourself. Either way, you will get to the correct answer. So 145 plus 75, you choose which one you want to round off. And then we only round off one number. And then I say, so let's choose 145. So we choose 145, and then we round off 145 to the nearest 10. The answer is 150. Then we take the 150 and then we add it to the number that we did not round off. So we say 150 plus 75, and then we get, I want to show you something here with mental maths. All right. In 75 grade 4s, we know that there is 50 and 25. We know that 50 plus 25 gives us 75, right? So if I take the 50 from the 75 and I put it on the 150, I'm going to get 200. You see how rounding off makes it easier? So I take the 50, I put it to the 150, I have 200, and then I'm left with how much? With 75. So then I say 200 plus 25, and then you get your estimated answer. You're almost done. Once you get the estimated answer, you're almost home and away. So now that you have seen that the answer is 125, we go back to the number that we rounded off. So the number that we rounded off was 145. And look at the cheating that happened here. From 145, we gained 5. So you borrowed me, and now I have more money, right? You borrowed me 145, and then you gave me 150. What must Mem do? Mem must do the right thing. Because Mem have gained 5 more rands. It means that Mem should what? Should remove it from the estimated answer. So from 145 to 150, we added 5. This means that we have to remove 5 from the estimated answer to get the actual answer. Then how do you remove it? We subtract. So because remember the inverse that I explained, because we added 5 on the 150, now we have to remove it from the estimated answer. Then we say 225 minus 5, and then the answer is 220. This is the real answer, the actual answer, grade 4s. So that is how we round off and compensate. And if you practice it more, it's not going to be difficult for you to do it. Okay, and then now we move on. I think here you also have to type in some questions, some answers for me so that I can see. All right, calculate the sum below by rounding off to 10 and compensating. So I've given you the sum. 458 plus 45. Okay, I don't want you to come. Okay, all right. So I'm going to go to the charts, and I think this side will be frozen. I'll go to the charts and see. You choose either one. You can choose 458 to the nearest 10, or you can choose 45 to the nearest 10. The choice is yours. Okay, I'll go to the charts. I'll wait a little bit and also see what you guys are saying. You can either choose 145 or you can choose 458 to the nearest 10, or you can choose 45. You can either round off, either one of the two is fine. 448, 58. Okay, I see Lonnie here said, is it Lon? Ma'am, we joined late, still not catching it. Okay, I'm giving more than one example because I understand that people, because we moved on to the new thing, people didn't get time maybe to join on time. Please repeat that. Okay, I think maybe you saw that. Okay. Okay, yes, I see the first answer. Okay, also it's unfortunate I'm not able to see whose name it is. Okay, Zoe. I think Zoe, you are answering the sum that we have is 458 and plus 45. So you can either round off 458 or you can round off 45, Zoe. So check there. I think the 150 is still for the previous one. So you can either round off 458 to the nearest 10 or 45 to the nearest 10. Okay, I saw someone came with that. Okay, Joy. Okay, something was frozen. Okay, so now the only thing that is frozen is supposed to be myself, my video, because I'm on the chat. Okay, I saw someone say the answer is 460. Now that answer ran away before I saw who it was, but then it was a correct answer. It was the correct answer. Okay, I see some, okay, still answering for the, okay, hi Nonhlanhla, you are welcome. All right. Okay, all right, so if you chose 458, the answer will be 460. So 458 to the nearest 10 is 460. If you chose 45 to the nearest 10, the answer is 50. All right, so I'm going to take you through, especially those that say they joined late. We want to accommodate everyone. So now that we have chosen one number to round off, so 458, okay, you've already written the answer on the chart. All right. Oh, okay. And here I also wanted you guys to write the answer there. So we said 458 to the nearest 10. So what I want you guys to go and do now at home, because you are not only learning, you're not only learning because you are here. I want you to get this and to know this for all your primary years. So now I'm still going to say the answers, but when you're at home, ask your parents to go to YouTube and then you rewatch this, especially this slide, because this slide is going to check for your understanding. So that is your homework today. So that one person who I didn't get their name said 458 to the nearest 10 is 460. Well done. And then we say 460 plus 45, and then we get 505. So that is how we get the 505. So, and this is called the answer. Yo, how I wish you guys can write this one. This is called the answer. Okay, I'll go back to the chart. I hope you guys can maneuver so you can answer. Okay, tell me what this is called. 505. I said we rounded off 458 to 10 to the nearest 10, and we got 460. Plus 45, we got 505. This is called the answer. I want you to tell me. Okay, I'm going to go to your chat again. So if you see my video now, when I go to the chat, you'll see that I either pause or I'm no longer talking. It's because I'm looking at your answers. This is called, okay, spelling doesn't count, so don't be scared, ma'am. I don't know how to spell it doesn't count. So let me go and check if people have said this is called the answer. Is there anyone who gave me an answer? This is called the what answer. Okay, my video would have frozen yes. This is called the what answer. Is it the actual answer? What is it called? It has a name. After we've rounded off, it has a name. What is it called? It's called the
Nancy, maybe if you try to reload the class, maybe they'll be able to see.
Okay, so they're not seeing the this
No.
Okay, and how do I refresh them?
Can you leave the meeting and then come back?
Okay, we are left with 5 minutes. Okay, let me leave and come back then. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, all right. Can you hear me, pal?
I can hear you loud and clear, and I can see the slide and the cursor is moving.
Oh, okay, all right. So it means we are back on. All right. Sorry about that, grade fours. Just wrapping up. So I said for those whose their videos was frozen, so we are still rounding off and compensating to 10, and then we're supposed to do this together. And then I had asked that you guys round off either. Remember, the rule is we round off either one of the numbers. So you can either round off 448 to the nearest 10, or you can round off 45 to the nearest 10. And then I saw one person had answered 458, that the answer is 466. And I said, unfortunately, I couldn't see who that was, but whoever that person was, well done, because you were right. So then 460 plus 45, the answer is 505. And I asked, this is called the word answer. And then that is where I want you guys to go to the chart and then tell me this answer, this 505, is it the actual answer? If I go to my calculator and say 458 plus 45, am I going to get 505? What is it called? What is it called? So I will check the answers on the chart. Okay, so what is it called? That 505. What do we call it? We call it the answer. What is it called? Okay, I'll check the answers now. Okay, I think there is a delay also with the answers. I will continue for the sake of time. So if you said maybe you whispered the answer to your parents or you thought it in your mind, is fine. So if you said this is called an estimated answer, you are right. It's an estimated answer. And then step number 2, we check by how much did we add on the rounded off answer. So to move from 458 to go to 460, by how much did we add? So we added, this means that we have to, okay, so that you were also supposed to answer that, but our chats are delaying a little bit. So by how much did we add on the rounded off answer? To move from 458 to 460, we added by 2. So this means that we have to subtract, so that's the missing one there. We have to subtract to get to the actual answer. And then the last step, then we have to say 505 minus 2, and then we get 503. So that is about rounding off and compensation. Okay, so this, I want you to do it at home. So I want you guys to do it at home. And then when you go to YouTube, I'm not going to show you this. When you go to YouTube and view, because I want you to understand this, ask your parents to go to YouTube and view. I'm going to check if you guys, I'll go and check if you guys have written the right answer. So you can go, I'll just click on there so that you can view it on YouTube, but I'm not going to explain that, so that you guys can go over it and then you can leave the answers for me. And then tomorrow, what I'm going to do first thing tomorrow when we meet, I'm going to say, yes, I saw answered and you said this and this. Now I can see that you understand. And then I'll go like, yeah, Zoe, I saw you went like this, like this. I'll even maybe correct you on YouTube and say, okay, there you just have to say +10 and whatever, because I want you guys to give the feedback. I cannot just teach rounding off and compensation and then you do not practice it. You can also do your own examples and post a picture for me and post the picture on YouTube. That is also great. That would be also great. And then, so in summary, I want you guys to understand. So understanding the concept of compensation is key to this strategy of addition. The fortunate part is when you come to multiplication, you're still going to do multiplying and compensation. So you round off and compensate when you're multiplying. So if you understand it now, you're going to prosper on your other strategies. So I would like you, grade 4s, to practice more, and then you understand it when you do it in subtraction and in multiplication. So maths is not just about you coming to listen to me. If you just listen to me, tomorrow we're doing rounding off and compensation of 100 and 1000. So if you don't go home and practice, I mean, if you don't practice because you're already at home, so if you don't practice it, you're going to find it difficult to do rounding off to 100 and 1000, because that is what KEPS requires you to do, to round off to 100 and to 1000. And let me also address those that were late. I am very aware that we are having challenges with moving on to this wonderful, amazing platform that you're using now. So maybe if you can try to connect 5 minutes before or 10 minutes before. That's what I do. I connect 15 minutes before and check for any challenges. So maybe if you can ask mommy or daddy to connect you around 1:45, and then we can also chat before we start, and then you tell me about yourself, because I would like to hear and to know more about you guys, and I would like to hear how you guys are taking all these lessons. Are you practicing them? Are you understanding them? Do you want us to repeat something? So tomorrow it's a date. 1:45, just make sure you connect, and then whoever is there, we're going to chat on, because there's a chat. I'm going to chat. You're going to tell me where are you guys from, which school you go to, if you're comfortable with that, and then we can learn more about each other. So just be on time. So let's check what you're doing tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to look at rounding off and compensation, and compensating to the nearest 100 and 1000. And then thereafter, we're going to look at breaking down method when we add, and then also the column method, And then when I have exposed you to these methods, you guys, you can choose the right strategy that you're comfortable with, that you know, like, you know, the back of your hand. So until tomorrow, I'll see you guys. Be safe, stay at home, wash your hands, and then I'm going to see you tomorrow. We done, pal?
All right.